My name is Phillip Jen, Dr. Phillip Jen, Yuan Pei, in Chinese, Yuan Pei Jen. And I originally came from Taiwan. I was born in Taiwan, Taipei, well, outside of Taipei. And grew up in a military refugee camp for, I'll say, early part of my life. Okay. Came to the United States when I was 7. I always tell my students that's the first movie I ever saw in my entire life was Star Wars. That was very interesting. That was the first movie I ever saw in the theater. Well, actually, the first movie I ever saw, period. So, I came here not speaking a word of English. Learned it on the fly, basically out of desperation or, whatever, necessity, if you want to say. And it was interesting when I first started. When I first started in school in the United States, I started in Greenville, South Carolina, in Malden Elementary School. The school's still there. They turned it into a museum apparently, so it's actually kind of interesting. Not because on my account. Apparently, that school's been there for about 120 years or something. So they decided rather not tear it down, and since there's so much history there, they turned it into a museum. But I went to that school, and the only way to communicate with my peers or my teachers or anything like that, since I didn't speak English, I drew everything. So I draw everything out, and basically made little flashcards. Need to go to the bathroom, I drew a toilet and those type of thing, and I used it. And from there, I started learning the language. And also, it's lucky that I have a little bit of autistic talent, so. And won all sorts of awards because of art and so forth since that time. But who I am, I guess, just a hard-working person, always seeking knowledge.
So as a kid, you have a very different origin story than a lot of people here at the university. But as a kid, was there a job that you really wanted or a career you really wanted?
My father was an engineer, so that's the last thing I wanted to be. So that kind of steered me away from that. Now I always want to be a scientist. Wasn't sure yet. Wasn't sure exactly what kind of scientist I wanted to be. But at the time, I always wanted to be a scientist. I thought I wanted to be a chemist for a while. But then it got really boring, chemistry. Once I got into college, took all the chemistry courses, and I'm going, oh God, I can't do this for the rest of my life. And then I got interested in medical science. That's how I fell into it. Yeah.
Dreams, dream job. Is there a dream job out there for you?
Well, I'm living the dream right now, actually. Okay. Could have became a medical doctor. Didn't want the beeper or tied to my cell phone or anything like that. So I decided to go into research. Okay, and like I said, when you're young, everything is up in the air. You got so many avenues, so many roads that you can take, but you're not actually sure which one. So in my case, I tried various things. One was go to medical school and try to become a doctor. And then during that time, came up with a couple of ideas. So you see on the wall, I came up with 3 patents. Even though I said I will not be an engineer, I still went into somewhat of an engineer course. And I learned I was pretty good at it, but still, that's not my interest, even after 3 patents. And then I fell into going into research. And that was actually a very interesting story. I was taking a tour. I came from University of North Carolina, Charlotte, and went back to Hong Kong to visit my parents. At the time, my mom and dad was living in Hong Kong. So went back to visit my parents. And one day they said, hey, why don't we just go take a tour of the Chinese University of Hong Kong? And I was like, okay, never been there. Let's take a look, okay? And it's a beautiful school, huge, by any standard. What is it, 18,000 students, elite of the elite in Asia and so forth. The school is ranked, 36 around the world. It's a sister school of Harvard. So you see a lot of Harvard students walking around as well. And they're also Yale sister school, so Yale student walking around as well. So it's actually very interesting. So I decided to take a tour of the science department. That's where I'm interested in. And Went to the anatomy department. Of course, it's always in the basement. Anatomy department is always in the basement. The basement dwelling people. Okay. So I went there, and there was this old man trying to fiddle with his PowerPoint. At that time, PowerPoint just came out, so he didn't know what to do with it. I mean, he's from a totally different generation. And try to set up his digital projector and all that stuff, and he didn't know how to do it. It's brand new. So, and we had one in North Carolina, so I was like, okay, I'll help you out. So I'm sort of set up, and this gentleman, I guess he liked me. We got to talking, and next thing you know, he offered me the position, working under him, along with his partner, who's the gentleman's name is John Dixon, and the other gentleman who also liked me apparently is John Gosling, the two Johns. And the two Johns were nominated for a Nobel Prize in '71, I do believe. They didn't win, but they're one of the best scientists. Each of them have over 300 publications and over 80 books. They're the de facto expert. Even I heard of them. I had read their papers and books before when I was in North Carolina. I didn't know that's who they were. Just an old man trying to fiddle with a projector, and I was just trying to help out. And next thing you know, they offered me a position, and they pushed it through, full scholarship, and asked me to come. And I couldn't say no. I mean, I had a chance to work with two of the best. And of course, that's research, not medical school. So went over there and started doing research. And within the first 2 months, we had our first publication. So I mean, it went light speed after that. And then I found out that was great. I love research. This is great. And that's what I thought I wanted to be. And then at 2000, year 2000, I came back to fight for my son's custody. And so I took a sabbatical from the school. Actually, I finished my doctorate there, and they kept me as one of the instructors, and researcher, actually more of a researcher than an instructor. And I came back, took a sabbatical, and came back, and I was just sitting around at home waiting for the court date. And then I saw this ad. Believe it or not, at that time, at 2000, there were still ads on the newspaper. So I was reading the newspaper, and there were ads in the newspaper, and I said, this is a small college, outskirts of Charlotte, North Carolina, that needed some help. So I wasn't doing anything. I was bored to death watching TV, watching movies. So I said, all right. So I applied. They hired me that day, which is kind of interesting. And I thought, just start teaching. And then from that point on, I fell in love with teaching. So that was interesting. It just switched from research immediately to teaching, and for the next, now 19 years, I've been teaching. Rather than doing research, until recently, I just put out a paper. So now I'm falling back in love with research again, so I might just do a little bit more research. But I like it here at UPike is because there's no pressure. In most other larger institutes, either publish or perish. Over here, they give me time, I teach, that's my main job, and on the side I can lead the students in research and stuff. Well, I think that's the perfect balance. And actually, if you want to say, after all these years, I finally found the perfect job.
Wow. So obviously, a lot of things happened in life to get you to this place. What would you say is a key moment to spur you on this path? Was it the article? Was it the fixing the projector? Was it coming to the United States? What was the key moment you think that spurred you to this path?
Key moment. I'll say setting foot on American soil for the first time. San Francisco, I still remember. 1976 Christmas, almost 77. Set foot in America for the first time. And the thought that there are opportunities now. I mean, nothing is given. Nothing is free. You have to earn it. But at least you have a chance to go earn it. And where I came from, there's not much of a chance. Not unless you're in the leadership position. They call it the leadership position, or if you want to say the connected. If you're not from the connected family, you're not going to get any chance, any opportunity. In the United States, it doesn't matter who you are. You have that chance to see if you want to grab it or not.
So when you think about your life and the various turns and really cool opportunities and how much you've worked really hard to patents, to research, all this kind of cool stuff, if you were today to try to bring your sense of call or purpose down to a sentence, Dr. Jen, what is your purpose or call in life?
Oh, used to be make a name for myself. Used to be. Now is leaving a legacy. Maybe a few books. I like to write books as well, as you can see. Maybe a few research articles that actually has some impact, make some difference. But more importantly is leaving a few of my students who can carry on my name. They learn from me, and then maybe they can teach others or help others, become medical doctors, scientists, and whatnot, and they can help others. Maybe in that way you can be remembered somewhat. Maybe not forever, but at least for one more generation, so at least they will remember you. That's basically it. I mean, I guess that's what we seek, maybe leaving something behind that somebody actually think, oh wow, Dr. Jen taught me that, something along those lines.
And then with that sense of legacy, purpose, would you say your job lines up with that?
Oh yeah, definitely. So proud to get a few students into great schools, graduate schools, medical schools. Hate to see them go. You got everything just working just right. Everybody's working just right, and then they graduate, and then you got to train a new batch. But that's life. But it's just hard to say goodbye. But they have to go on and live their life.
So you have been influential to people, right?
I hope so.
The myriad of people now who are doing good things with their lives can go back and thank you. But for you, who's been one or two people been most influential in your life?
Well, that was easy. My grandfather, very influential to me. He's also a professor. He graduated university at the age of 15. He got 2 PhDs by the age of 18. He was the department chair of Tokyo University by the age of 28. And then subsequently he set up his own company called China Cement, and which is it's $1 billion corporation now, or something along those lines. Well, it made it big after he died, something. Okay, but he set up a company. He died quite young. He passed away at age 48, but he did a lot before he passed away, and I never met him actually. I was born after he passed away, but I hear all the stories from family members how great he was, how smart he was, how he had what they call a photographic idyllic memory. Never went to class, didn't need to, just read the book. And he'd read it once, goes in, score A's. Something like that. Talent like that is, I wish I had it. Unfortunately, the genetics didn't get passed down. And then, of course, my father, who's also very capable, also PhD, Stanford University, electronics, worked under Dr. Noyes for a while, Fairchild, and went on to set up his own company. Both of them became Fortune 500 corporations, even though he's a pretty bad scientist, actually. He never published anything in his life. But he's really good at making money. So each have his own calling. So he did a lot with his life. He comes to visit UPike quite often, actually. He likes his little school. We call it the little school. And he just loved the environment. And he's 83, almost 84 now. And he's retired. He earned it. Been working all his life. And he's my inspiration. Every time I'm working on a project or doing something for the school, for my students, or even for myself, I start feeling tired or discouraged or anything. Then I start thinking about my grandfather and my father. And the thought of them basically telling me that don't give up, just keep pushing yourself, and that gets me through. So there's always the inspiration. So.
That's right. So if someone was listening to the story today and said, okay, you are living my dream, I want to do this, What did you do specifically to get yourself to this place today?
A little luck, a lot of hard work. I don't know how to answer that question. How did I get there? Let's just put it this way. I couldn't predict what I would have been 10, 20, 30 years ago. Okay? The path is the life that led me. Twists and turns. Making the right decisions. I mean, that's probably one way. Working hard. Chasing your dreams. Never give up. That's the key. I mean, I always have a motto. You start something, you finish it. And I always finish when I start. It might take me 5 years, but darn it, I will finish. So, even though I don't want to, I'll push myself through. I don't know. Got me to this point. My ancestors, my father, the inspiration that they gave me, hard work.
There's something really to hard work, isn't there? I mean, just gutting it out, gritting it, going for it. But obviously, as a mentor, researcher, educator, you've had tons of conversations with young people. And a lot of people, especially in your field right now, you have a lot of people who want to come be doctors, and then maybe biology or whatever is not their thing, so they have to figure out something else. What advice do you have for a person who doesn't know what they're supposed to do with their life? What would you tell them?
That's a hard question, actually. I see a lot of students who say, "Oh, I want to be a doctor," but that might not be their calling. They might be good at other things. I had a student. This is one example. I had a student last semester. He keeps saying that he wants to be a medical doctor, and his grades were okay, but not up to par to get into medical school. But at the same time, he was working. And while he's working, he's already been promoted to district manager. And I actually sat him down. I said, "Look, okay, open your eyes, okay? What you're doing at work right now, okay, and not even having a college degree, you already got promoted to a district manager at this pretty good sized company. Why are you still pursuing this? That you're not really actually, I wouldn't say qualified, but you're not up to that level yet to be accepted." Okay, I'm sure if he ever gets in, he'll be fine. I mean, he's a hard worker, he's a smart person. But you have this path right in front of you. Why are you trying to go to the harder route? Take this path. Maybe this is your calling. Finish your degree, and then go to that path and try it out. Maybe you actually fell in love with it. Sometimes what you want to do might not be what is meant for you to do. God has plans, so maybe it's not exactly the same as your plan. So that's the way I see it. Like me, thought I was going to be an MD, turned out to be a PhD. Thought I was going to do research, teach some research now, but mostly teaching. So, who knew? I didn't know.